The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. And as always, we will be talking about adult things, so if you've got little ones with you, you might want to keep them otherwise entertained for the next sort of 45 minutes or so. This morning we're talking to Richard, so good morning to you, Richard.
Good morning, Phil.
How are things going with you?
Well, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure, it sure is. How are things at Dooralong these days?
Dooralong's great.
It is?
Phil, yeah, Dooralong's really good.
Yeah, you're saying that with a big smile on your face. You really mean it, don't you?
I do, yeah. Yeah, Dooralong's given me a lot of opportunities, and yeah, it's been a great place to stay.
How long have you been there now?
6 months.
Yeah?
Yeah, going on 6 months next week, yeah.
So you are looking forward to the sort of the next stage?
I am looking forward to my next stage. Yeah, getting out there in the real world again. It's
yeah. It's an achievement, isn't it?
It is an achievement. I feel like I've achieved a lot in the last 6 months. It's been great. I'm prepared to go out in the world and
you're ready
and tackle the world again. Yeah.
Good. Now you're at Dooralong obviously for an addiction. But what is your addiction?
My addiction's alcohol, Phil.
Yeah. And when did that first make its presence felt in your life?
I think it took me a long time to realise I had my addiction. I realised about 4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And it just got hold of me, the alcohol. Yeah.
You say you realised it was an addiction 4 years ago, but you've been drinking for a long time.
I have been drinking for a long time, since I was a young kid.
Yeah.
In the pub, 16, 17.
Yeah. And it's so widely available, not just here in Australia, but throughout the sort of Western world, isn't it? Drink, it's socially acceptable in some ways. We've got bottle shops, we've got pubs, it's part of the culture.
Oh, definitely social aspect. That was what we did back in the day, back when I was at that age, you know. I was in the pub and I couldn't celebrate my 18th birthday at the pub because I'd been there 2 years already.
Is that right?
So,
a bit of a giveaway.
That was just what you did.
Yeah. So it started for you as a teenager, a very young teenager, 13, 14, something like that?
Oh, yeah, read about, yeah. Maybe a little bit over 15, 16.
Yeah. And you were telling me before we sort of came on air that it was just purely a social thing, really. You were drinking with the older kids. That's right,
yeah. That's right. I grew up with some older relatives and their mates, and it was just what we did after work and during work, and it was just the way we lived, yeah.
And you had a good home life?
I had a great home life, yeah. As a young child, I had a great home life. My parents separated when I was about 13, 14, so everything went a bit messy from there on.
Yeah. Do you think that might have at least been a contributory factor?
Oh, definitely, Phil, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
One of the triggers.
Yes.
Yeah, because there would have been grief and heartache and anxiety around Mum and Dad splitting up, and I suppose the drink just took the edge off it.
Correct, yeah.
For a little while.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. You say you were drinking all your life from that point on. What sort of industry did you go into, Richard?
I was a removalist for a little while, for quite a few years, from 20 on, and then I became a demolisher in the construction industry, and that was sort of part of life as well, around the boys.
Yeah, but it does sound a bit of a dangerous combination, being in the demolition industry with all those wrecking balls and
and heavy machinery.
Yeah,
correct.
Were you drinking at work?
I was drinking at work, yes, in the later years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit it very well. I was functioning well. I thought I hit it very well.
Yeah.
I was functioning alcoholic there for a while, but it just caught up with me, Phil, in the end.
Yeah. How did it catch up with you?
Physical. It was a very physical addiction for a long time.
Yeah.
And I just needed the alcohol to function. It was just part of my daily routine was to have a drink.
So you're no longer doing it for pleasure, but you
Correct.
actually needed this to live.
That's right. Yes, 100%.
It's a bit of a cliche, but was it the first thing you looked for when you woke up in the morning?
I thought about my next drink the night before, Phil.
Yeah.
I didn't make the morning. I was already planning the morning drink. The night before. So.
How much a day were you drinking?
Quite a bit, mate. To put numbers on it, I don't know. Yeah, too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much.
Beer, spirits, wine.
Beer and wine. In the end, I was drinking bottles of wine before work in the mornings.
Gradually taking over your life.
It took over. Yeah.
Self-focus.
Yeah.
If it's the first thing you think of in the morning, or actually in your case, the night before,
you know you're in trouble then.
You know you're in trouble then.
Yeah.
So what prompted Richard to sort of reach out for help?
Well, as you say, Phil, the industry I was in was getting dangerous. It was dangerous to work. It was affecting my family. It was affecting every part of my life. Every aspect of my life was starting to be affected. You know.
So by this time you had a family?
Well, yeah, my sons. I raised my two sons, and they didn't like me drinking at all. I drank through their whole lives, and I was a changed person when I was on the drink. So they'd had enough, and they were concerned about my health.
Yeah.
So I was greatly concerned that it was affecting them. So that was a major part.
So all through the time of bringing them up, and you mentioned you were a single dad, all through those early childhood years for them, there was still alcohol in your life.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And you said you were. They said that you were a changed person.
I was a changed person. Yeah, I got a bit angry.
Yeah.
Which was they were very worried about me getting angry. I was a different person.
So the motivation for change was really the effect your lifestyle was having on your kids.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Which is a pretty powerful motivator, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I love my boys.
Of course you do.
I love my boys, and for it to affect them as much as it did, yeah.
So they took Dad aside and said, "Look, Dad, you got to do something about this."
They definitely did. Yeah,
they definitely did.
Yeah.
So what did Dad do about it?
I went straight into a detox, and got some help at Dooralong, and
Okay. Dooralong wasn't your first?
No, I did a short stint in Who's at Roselle about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But I didn't find that I wasn't compatible at Who's there, and it wasn't working for me there, so I only stayed for a short time.
And how were things after that shortish stay?
I did go into recovery for a couple of years after that. I was with had a partner at the time, and got a lot of help from her.
So there must have been part of you that was thinking, well, I may not have this cure, but I'm on top of it. I can live with this.
Oh yeah. I thought I was on top of it. I was on top of it for quite a while. Yeah.
Can we ask why you fell off the wagon, as they say?
Well, the partner I just spoke about, I had a breakup in that relationship, and I went back to old habits.
Back to the alcohol.
Back to old habits, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're talking to Richard from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. He was telling us before the break of his descent into alcoholism as a single dad, as somebody working in the construction industry or the demolition industry. He found himself drinking all waking hours, basically. Richard, is that right?
That's right.
But it was the first thing that was in his mind of a morning. He would drink before he went to work, he would drink at work, and he would drink after work. His sons are really worried for him, and they take him aside and say, "Dad, you really got to do something about this." And you go into a detox.
Correct.
Yeah. Now look, we've really concentrated with other guests on the work that they do at Dooralong, and we'll come on to that in a moment. We haven't really talked to our guests about what happens at a detox. So where do they do the detox? They don't do this at Dooralong, do they, the detox?
No, they don't do it at detox. At Dooralong, there's few detox centres around. I went to Wang Hospital detox unit.
Yeah. So you go in, you probably had your last drink the day before, or perhaps even earlier that day. What happens to you in detox? What do they do?
Basically, they look after you and get you back to health. They feed you up and medication, vitamins.
You're making it sound not too bad, but I'm sure it's
it's a very lonely place, mate. It's a very lonely place.
Because your body is craving alcohol, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. The medication helps you. There's a lot of withdrawal symptoms involved coming off alcohol, so it has to be looked after appropriately.
That's why the doctors are there.
That's right. Yeah. There's tests all the time. There's blood tests.
So what are some of the withdrawal symptoms?
Night sweats, a lot of trembles, a lot of shakes. yeah, that's the two major ones that I had.
So when we see on the movies of people going into a detox unit and sort of the body shakes and the sweats, it's real.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you ever tempted just to walk out of that hospital?
Every day, I think, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, every day it would have been good to go out. But you are looked after well there, so
yeah. And
makes it a bit easier.
Their mission isn't to address the reasons for the alcoholism or anything like that, which is a rehabilitation side of it. Their mission is just to get those toxins out of your body, so that you're free of all traces of alcohol, and your body is functioning in a stable way.
That's right. Yes.
How long does it take, that detox?
About 7 days, 5 to 7 days.
Yeah.
5 to 7 lonely days.
Yeah. And are the earlier days the worst?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, do you go straight to Dooralong from that detox unit?
I did this time, yes. I did go straight there. I was lucky to get a phone call. I got the phone call the day I was leaving, and it was Dooralong on the other end, so I was pretty happy about that.
And for one of the very few times in your life, you're leaving the Wyong detox unit, going to Dooralong, and you're actually sober.
I was sober. Yeah, I was 7 days sober.
And they pick you up in the bus, I think, don't they?
Yes, we go in a bus.
Yeah. And they drive you down the Dooralong Valley. What are you thinking as you're driving down the Dooralong Valley? Because your body still must be a little bit fragile, I imagine.
Oh, you definitely. Yeah, your body's fragile. Your mind's very fragile. And you're sort of thinking, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah. Have I done the right thing?
Yeah, it's a big step. It's a big step rehabilitation. So
yeah,
it's a bit scary.
So, how do they make you feel at home when you get to Dooralong?
Quite welcome at Dooralong, yeah. Everyone's sort of open arms.
Were you tempted? Because again, you could if you wanted to, couldn't you? You could just walk out. Were you tempted to walk out?
Mate, I didn't unpack my bags for a week.
Is that so?
Yeah, I had one foot out the door for probably a couple of months, actually. To be
you were
honest.
really keeping your options open.
Yeah, I was scared.
So, was it a day at a time?
Beg your pardon?
Just taking it a day at a time.
That's right.
I can stay one more day. I can stay one more day.
That's right. Yeah.
But you didn't really fully unpack for a month.
Oh no, about a week.
A week. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't unpack for about a week.
Yeah. And then you decided you might give it a go.
Yeah. Once I packed my wardrobe, I thought, I'm here to stay for a little while now.
Yeah.
I like this place.
Yeah. And what is it about that place that you like?
Everyone's so welcoming, Phil. It's so welcoming and ready to help. They know the trouble you're in, and they're just so willing to help.
Yeah, and it's so genuine, isn't it?
It is genuine, yeah. And there's so many options available to help you in your recovery. It's great.
Yeah, and it's not just addressing the alcohol issues. They address all those other life issues that everybody encounters, relationships, that type of thing.
That's right, Phil. Mental health issues, like alcohol just strips your body, strips your mind, and a lot of mental health problems, and everything's addressed there. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So you've been there now 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months on Fridays.
That's not bad for somebody who didn't unpack for a week. You've been there actually 6 months now.
That's right, yeah. It's been a good stint.
What's been the best part of it?
The best part is just the people there, the people there, the opportunities I've been given. I've just done some study, just the opportunities to go out in the world and tackle the world again, and just the courses they offer are fantastic. The morning groups, we have groups every morning, and just everyone can relate. You've got so many people that are in your situation, and you can just relate and bounce off other people.
Are you anxious about leaving?
I am anxious about leaving, Phil. I am.
Yeah, I think I would be as well. Knowing that I can sort of stay alcohol-free in Dooralong is one thing. Knowing I can stay alcohol-free on the other side of the gate.
It's a big cotton wool ball at Dooralong, and you get quite comfortable there. But going out on the road, very anxious. I lost a lot because of my addiction. So I have to set up again. I have to reset my whole life again. So, but I've got the tools now to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You don't need that crutch of alcohol or other sort of life lessons that you've learned.
No, that's gone, mate. That's gone.
And what about your sons?
My sons?
Are they coming and seeing you?
One of my sons lives in France, actually. Plays football over there. So,
does he?
Yeah, so I haven't seen him
professionally.
He does play professionally. Yeah.
No, like Richard, what do you mean by football, by the way?
Rugby league.
Ah,
yeah, he plays rugby league over there.
you meant soccer for a minute.
Oh no, sorry, Phil.
Yeah, so he's playing professional football in France.
Yeah, he's in the English Super League over there. So,
wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
I speak to him daily, pretty much.
Yeah.
So he's very strong.
He's excited by what's happening for Dad.
He's very excited. He's very proud of me as well for what I've done. Yeah.
And your other son is a little bit more local, perhaps.
He's a local plumber.
Yeah.
He's a local plumber.
Yeah.
He's very proud of me for what I've done as well.
Yeah.
It's going good.
Proud of yourself as well.
I am proud of myself. It's been a long 6 months. It's been a hard journey.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud with my success. Yeah.
Will you go back to the demolition industry?
I've actually just done some studies, some courses for some crane work, so I'm looking at getting into the construction side instead of demolition side.
Yeah, sort of changing direction a little bit.
Correct, yeah.
What about the whole thing, what about the whole God thing down there at Dooralong? Were you aware of that sort of side of things?
I was aware of the God thing. I don't really say God thing, Phil.
No, but you were. I mean, it was run by. You knew it was run by the Salvation Army, so you knew there would be a Christian.
Of course.
Element to it.
Yeah, of course, which didn't bother me at all.
And how does that sit with you now? Having been there for 6 months.
Yeah, it sits with me well. Yeah, I had a big spiritual awakening at Dooralong. Yeah.
That sounds really interesting, but look, we'll leave our listeners on tenterhooks. We'll have some music and we'll come back and you can tell us about that spiritual awakening. It sounds really great. So we've been chatting for quite a while to Richard from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. He said just before the break that at Dooralong he had a bit of a spiritual awakening. I was questioning him about that off air. You were brought up a Catholic, weren't you, Richard?
I was brought up a Catholic.
Yeah. So Christianity and the sort of basic tenets of Christianity were familiar to you?
They were, yeah. I did a lot of church time when I was younger,
Yeah. Had you drifted away?
I did drift away. Around in my late teen years, I drifted away. Found girls and alcohol and drugs, etc. So I did drift away.
I think for lots of people, and I'm speaking personally here because me as well, it was almost a natural progression. Once you reach sort of mid-teens, other things crowd in, and with the arrogance of youth, you don't think you need the church anymore.
That's right.
So 6 feet tall and bulletproof. Why do I need the church?
That's
sort of thing. And and then we come back to it later in life when we're a little bit more mature. So you were brought up in the Christian faith, the Catholic denomination, which means I think that probably the chapel worship nights at Dooralong would have been very different to the church services that you were used to.
Yeah, they're very different, Phil.
What did you make of those?
I thought it was a bit of a cult, I thought they're trying to brainwash me here, but I've become quite comfortable at chapel.
Yeah. And you talked before the break about a spiritual awakening. What's the realization for you that spiritual awakening that's happened for you?
I guess I've been open-minded to a higher power, and I've accepted that there must be a higher power. You know, everything happens. A lot of things have happened. A lot of good things have happened, and there's got to be a reason for that.
Yeah, and we know what that is. That higher power we call God.
That's right, God.
Yeah. So you're a regular attender now at chapel nights?
I am a regular attendee.
And you're telling me you go to one of Salvo's local churches every Sunday as well?
I go to Long Jetty chapel on the Sunday mornings, yes.
Yeah. So will that continue to be a fixture in your life? Not necessarily that church, but will church continue to be a fixture in your life?
I will attend church after I leave Dooralong. I get a lot out of church, that's good.
Yeah, I think we all do. I think we all get a lot out of church. So, how much longer have you got, do you think, at Dooralong before they say, Richard, you're ready?
Probably be a couple of months still, Phil. I want to go out prepared. So I've still got some organising to do. And
it would be silly, wouldn't it, after 6 months to rush the final few weeks and not get every wring every last drop of goodness out of
That's
Dooralong.
right. That's right. I don't want to waste this time, this
No.
precious time that I've spent there. I don't want to waste that. So I want to go out ready.
Yeah. And your sons will be welcoming you with open arms.
They will be.
Except
Yes.
one who's in France.
One is in France.
He's the professional
He'll be on the
footballer.
phone, but
He'll
know.
be on the phone, but
Yeah.
your other son will be ready to welcome you.
Yes.
Yeah. Will you live locally, do you think, or?
I'm going to go where the work is, Phil.
Of course.
I want to be stable when I get out. So I have to find on the back of these courses I've attended.
Yeah.
I want to set myself up so where the best job opportunity, I'll sort of be headed that way. I'm not tied down anywhere at the moment. So
when you look back on your life and look back to that sort of 13, 14-year-old Richard who was just drinking with the older boys at school because it was a done thing, is there any one intervention that could have taken place, or any one thing that might have happened, or something that somebody might have said which would have put Richard on a different path that didn't lead to alcoholism? Or do you think it was you were just a victim of, well, not a victim, but it was just, well, I'd say preordained either, but you were just a victim of the circumstances in which you were being brought up?
I think it was just circumstances, Phil.
Yeah, and your mum and dad breaking up around about that age and everything.
Yeah, I think that played a big part.
Yeah, and if you could talk to another young lad, 13 or 14, who's hitting the drink really hard now, perhaps going through what you went through with a mum and dad splitting up, have you got any advice for them?
Oh, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Ask for help.
Yes.
Yeah. Did they have school counsellors when you were at school and things like that?
No, they wouldn't. No, they had no counselling like that.
I suppose a 13 or 14-year-old now can go and see that school counsellor in confidence, couldn't they? And sort of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I hope they have got a lot of help in schools. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be there.
Yeah, we should
There's
make.
a lot of young boys out there and need a lot of help.
They do. They do. And they're just turning to alcohol and drugs because they can't cope with life.
That's right. Yeah.
And then they realise they still can't cope with life, but now they've got an addiction thrown into the mix as well.
Well, like myself, because of their circumstances. You know, there's a lot of bad circumstances out there.
Yeah, look, we're not about the blame game. Until we've walked a mile in their shoes, none of us can say, they shouldn't have done it. It's one of those things, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, Richard, it's been really wonderful to talk to you this morning. And a number of some REMA will actually probably see you tonight, because Dooralong have been very generous in inviting 4 or 5 of us from the radio station to join in your chapel night service tonight. So
sounds great. Cool. It'll be nice to have you there.
They've also invited us for the roast dinner first, so perhaps you can give us a sneak peek at the menu. What's on the menu?
A bit of roast lamb tonight.
Roast lamb, is it? Good.
I'll put some apple sauce aside for you.
Okay, that'd be terrific. Thanks a lot, Richard, for coming in.
Thank you,
we wish you, we pray God's blessing on your life as it unfolds in the future. And that you spend many, many happy, addiction-free days with your boys.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 rema.cc.